through 200 innings, one of 5 pitchers in the majors to reach that plateau. Chris throws a lot of different pitches, and it's going to be a challenge for him each and every year to refine those pitches as he goes through spring training. The curveball was a great pitch for him as well, but Chris Bassitt is probably his worst critic. He is determined to throw another great season. When you look at the 4 men in the top of the rotation, they had phenomenal seasons, each of them making at least 31 starts. Pete Walker, their pitching coach, believes that this pitching staff can be even better because now all they're doing is they're refining their mechanics.
The pitching staff certainly drove the team last year, trying to drive the offense, and debuting today, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is playing. Here's Hazel May with more.
Ben and Buck, yes, Blue Jays fans will get their first look at newly slimmed down Guerrero Jr. in action today for the very first time this spring. Guerrero accomplished all of his offseason objectives, including getting back to the type of shape he was in previous seasons. He's a lot leaner. He's added more muscle. He said, quote, "I really feel like I achieved my goal." Well, no argument from John Schneider, who said Guerrero's conditioning can only help his durability this year. The Blue Jays say that Guerrero taking ownership of his offseason will only pay dividends come opening day. Ben?
Hazel, we're looking forward to seeing Vlad and his buddy Bo leading off for the Blue Jays and having fun on a sunny day in Florida. The Blue Jays looking for their first win of the spring when we come back.
In the last half of the second inning, Robinson gets the first hit off Ford. It's a homer into the left field stand.
Danny Jansen comes up with a big hit to complete the sweep.
Ball game. Romero blows it away. Springer's getting the wave home. And it's an inside the park home run.
Your dream vacation plans probably don't include hepatitis A or B, but many common travel activities can put you at risk of acquiring these 2 serious liver diseases. So plan on talking to your doctor about Twinrix, because you are a traveler.
At Fidelity, we know that everyone's got financial goals, and they're all different. But the one thing we share, we all want to get to them sooner.
On AutoTrader, pretty much every car has beside it whether or not it's a good price, a fair price, or a great price.
It gives me the confidence to know that I'm getting a really good deal. I see green, I know that's a great price.
I use AutoTrader because it saves me money. I can't argue with the price badge.
Leon's No Money Miracle event ends Wednesday. It's your last chance to get amazing deals on furniture. Hurry in and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Plus, other than the taxes and fees, don't pay until 2026 with 0% interest. Ends Wednesday.
The Sportsnet app has everything I need.
It's the Spurs and Raptors. Let's get you to San Antonio and Danielle Michaud.
Live stream.
Cabby?
Follow any team, any league, anytime, anywhere.
This just in. The Blue Jays on the verge of signing.
Breaking news.
Cabby.
Highlights. All the highlights. Everything I want. Everything you want. On the Sportsnet app.
You know you want to tap that app.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is back. His debut in 2024 about to get underway as the Blue Jays take on the Pirates in Grapefruit League action. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May here. And Vladdy taking on a Pirates lineup today that features 2021 first overall pick Henry Davis, a catcher, at times an outfielder. He is trying to break in to that reserve backup catcher role for this team. And also Kanan Smith and Jigba, the brother of the talented wide receiver for the Seattle Seahawks, Jackson Smith and Jigba. On the mound for the Blue Jays, the left-hander from Japan, Yusei Kikuchi.
Well, Kikuchi trying to recapture what he had last year. He had a terrific season. First time in his career he had a winning season. He was 11-6 and established a new career high with 167 innings pitched. He is in a real good spot this spring. His delivery has been refined. He throws the curveball. He's pitching with a lot of confidence.
His first pitch is a fastball, but it's deemed a ball, and we are underway at 107 local. I can see maybe one cloud in the sky here in Florida. It's a really, really nice day in Dunedin. The 1-0. Swing and a miss on the heater, 1-1. Kikuchi entering his 3rd year with the Blue Jays, and it is just remarkable the difference of what it feels like this spring as opposed to last spring. You're coming into last spring after Kikuchi didn't survive the whole initial season with the Blue Jays in the rotation, ended up being in the bullpen at the end of the year, and we were coming into last spring wondering if Yusei Kikuchi will hold down his starting role. Now this year, it's all but guaranteed. 2-1, and he went.
But last year, Yusei came into camp knowing he had to win a job in the rotation, and with that, he threw 20 innings in spring training. He threw more innings than any pitcher on the Blue Jays staff, and that got him off to a great start. Not only did he win a job in the rotation, but he had a great month of April.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Kikuchi with a 5-pitch strikeout of Nick Gonzalez, and there's 1 out.
Well, that's a terrific slider he throws, and he's got a great breaking ball, and he's got a lot of confidence in it. You can see it disappears. It starts in the strike zone and then breaks down, and Gonzalez swings over the top of it. As I said, Kikuchi's in a great spot. Pete Walker is very optimistic about all of his starting pitchers. He thinks they're all in a good spot early on.
First pitch to Jared Triolo is called strike 1. Triolo, a 2nd rounder in 2019 out of Houston. That being the University of Houston, not the Astros.
And that's a changeup he threw right there. That's a new pitch that Danny Jansen is determined to get into the mix a lot here this afternoon. And Yusei spent most of the offseason in Toronto, but he came to Dunedin in January and started to refine that changeup. If he can get that pitch into the mix consistently, he can take it to another level totally.
That was a really well located changeup at the bottom of the zone for strike.
Easy pitch to throw, but it's always the most difficult for pitchers to master. And when you got a good changeup, you have an elite pitch that can help you out of a lot of jams.
And for one pitch, in theory, a changeup, there's so many different grips that guys use.
Yeah, everybody's different. Everybody has a different feel, different comfort level.
High fly ball to right field. Racing back, Cam Eden. That's over his head and off the wall. It's going to be picked up by Nathan Lucas in center, and he will toss it back into the infield. That's a 1-out double for Jared Triolo.
Well, Triolo's in the mix to make this team as a second baseman. His first double of the spring. He hit 9 doubles last year in 54 games for the Pirates. And you can see he's a big, strong kid. And he's played in the middle of the diamond. And Zobrist is a guy that the Pirates manager, Derek Shelton, will oftentimes compare Triolo to.
It's a pretty good comparison.
I praise.
First pitch to Henry Davis, saws off the bat, pop up, just lands out of play, and Davis needs a new piece of lumber there. Kikuchi ahead 0-1.
Yeah, you see him getting a lot of kitchens with that good fastball. He's got such a good delivery, and that was the thing that he really worked on last year in the spring, was refining his delivery, getting a consistent delivery where he could throw all of his pitches from the same release point.
Because if he can be consistent in the zone, Yusei Kikuchi is one of the hardest throwing left-handed starters in all of baseball with big movement on his stuff. He should be effective like he was last year. Davis, the 2021 first overall pick, lifts it into foul territory. Guerrero chasing it toward the netting, and he makes the catch. First play of the spring for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And Buck, a lot of people talking about Vladdy and maybe the shape he's in or the way he's going about certain things from an offensive standpoint. Vladdy also a Gold Glover a couple years ago too. What do you see from him on the defensive side?
Yeah, he's in much better shape. Last year he didn't have a good year in the field, but he won that Gold Glove 2 years ago, and I think he's back to that form again. He's worked hard again. He's in great shape, as you can see, and that's only going to help him out in the long haul.
They're going to test out a pickoff move to second for the first time, but a dive back safely by Triolo. Edward Olivares at the plate, longtime Kansas City Royal. Played over 100 games with the Royals last year and hit 12 home runs. First pitch fastball misses. Olivares actually an international signing of the Blue Jays back in 2014 out of Caracas, Venezuela. but was traded to the Padres in 2018 in the deal that brought back third baseman Yangervis Solarte. And a miss outside to make it 2-0.
Yeah, you can see Kikuchi was upset after missing with that pitch. And you know what? There was a time when he was just hoping to throw it into zone. Now he understands that he can locate it much better because he's got command of his delivery. So he, too, has high expectations for himself.
Pop up on the 2-0. Vladdy calling off Espinal, and he'll make a second put out here to end the inning. A one-out double, but Yusei Kikuchi gets out of it unscathed. Bo Bichette, Guerrero, and Justin Turner when we return.
Toronto meets Tampa Bay. Let's go. Rays, Blue Jays, Wednesday on Sportsnet.
Bailey's? Bailey's.
He became the director of his life, and Exotica, an extraordinary travel crafter, made it happen. Become the director of your life at Exotica.com.
On AutoTrader, pretty much every car has beside it whether or not it's a good price, a fair price, or a great price.
It gives me the confidence to know that I'm getting a really good deal. I see green, I know that's a great price.
I use AutoTrader because it saves me money. I can't argue with the price badge.
Normal checking accounts sit there as you withdraw and pay fees. Okay. But EQ Bank is like a checking account without the fees and pays you high interest.
Could you have explained that without touching my food?
Nope, that would have been tough.
Kings, Oilers, tonight on Sportsnet 1 and West.
John Schneider and the Blue Jays in their third game of the spring training schedule. We'll hear from John Schneider coming up a little bit later. The manager of the Blue Jays joining us in the bottom of the sixth. Here's that Blue Jays lineup coming up, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is back in it for the first time in 2024. He is going to hit second in between Bo Bichette and Justin Turner.
Now Vladdy's going to look at a young hard-throwing right-hander and Randy Contreras, the Pirates starter here today. Contreras, 24 years old, and he's going to be an interesting piece for Derek Shelton in the Pirates rotation. 2 years ago, he made 18 starts and went 5-5. Last year, it wasn't so good for him, although he did finish up throwing well, and he's come into camp in good shape, looking like he's going to grab a hold of that spot in the rotation.
Yeah, if you go back to 2 years ago, his ERA under 4 was one of the better starting pitching performances the Pirates had, but last year spent some time at AAA after struggling at the major league level. Bichette barrels up the second pitch he sees and drives it into center field, cut off by Bay. But Bo picks up right where he left off on Saturday when he had 2 line drive singles. Today he has his first, and the Blue Jays have a base runner for Vladdy.
Yeah, it's always interesting how hitters make adjustments to breaking balls, and this is a high breaking ball that Bo stays on and just rips it into center field. I mean, that's a mistake by the pitcher, and Bo is ready. His timing looks great, and he, too, is in terrific shape this year, much along the lines of this next batter, Vladdy Guerrero.
First at bat of the spring for Vladdy. Contreras, his first pitch is off the handle. Strike one on a foul ball. Vladdy led the Blue Jays in RBIs last year with 94, but not the offensive season that a lot of people expected out of him. The 0-1. And Guerrero shoots it to left center field. That'll sink down into the gap. Bo's making the turnaround second, headed for third. Bay has no throw. Vladdy even tested it a little bit with a large turn at first, but he'll head back to the bag. He has his first hit of the spring, and the Blue Jays have runners on the corners with nobody out.
Now, Vladdy didn't really line that one on a sharp line to center, but he gets enough of it, and he's so strong. He kind of got jammed a little bit, but he flares it over the infield. Bo reads it well, sees it's going to drop between the center fielder and the left fielder, and goes first to third very easily. That's going to be something the Blue Jays have emphasized all spring long. Run the bases well.
How can they drive in some runs here in the first? Justin Turner pokes the first pitch down the right field line, and a look from Smith and Jigba, but that hits the netting.
Yeah, Turner would like another swing at that last pitch. That one was right up in his letters. His eyes lit up when he saw that hanging breaking ball. Big numbers for Turner a year ago with the Red Sox. Played 146 games.
He had his most hits and RBIs of his career in his age 38 season. Good take there, and he tells Bo to wait up. But he's one of these guys, we talk about it a lot more in pitcher years where a guy hasn't thrown as much of his age. Turner didn't really break in as a full-time consistent player until he was almost in his 30s, if not in his 30s.
It was a lot like Jose Bautista.
Yeah.
They were both utility guys trying to find an opportunity to play.
Turner cuts and misses, and he's down in the count 1-2.
Turner's opportunity came with the Dodgers, and he was playing for Don Mattingly as the manager of LA. But he was like Jose Bautista, one of those guys who said, well, this guy looks like he can play, but never got a real extended opportunity until he went to LA.
Started in Baltimore, played with the Mets as well. And he takes the 1-2 outside.
This is where Turner really has an interesting approach. I asked him about his two-strike approach. He says, I look for the ball up in the zone. He said, if you look for the ball down, you're going to chase a lot of bad pitches. But if you look for the ball up, that ball down and away seems so far away, you never chase it. Pretty good approach.
2-2. And he pokes it foul into the netting. And so many guys these days, whether it's the slider or the sweeper, they're trying to bury that breaking ball for their strikeout pitch.
I think that's a mistake to good hitters like this because they are cutting down their swing. And most RBI hitters in baseball are great breaking ball hitters when you throw it in the zone. You better be sure to get it off the plate.
Roansy Contreras throws over 50% breaking balls between his slider and his curve. He's 2-2. And Turner grounds it up the middle. A flip over to second for one, but the run will come in to score. They do end up turning two. A 6-4-3 double play. Williams, Triolo to Lamb. A run comes home in Bichette, and it's 1-0 Blue Jays.
Well, Turner won't get credit for an RBI, but he had another productive at-bat. You got to cash that runner in from third base, and you know what? At this point of his career, it's not about the numbers he puts up. It's about how many runs the team scores, and he puts the Jays out in front here.
So 1-0 Toronto. Vladdy getting some high fives after his base hit moved Bichette over to third, and Danny Jansen whiffs on that one 0-1. Jano had a strong start to the spring a couple days ago. Walked the first time he came up and scored, and then doubled and scored in the third inning of the loss to Philadelphia. Jano reaches down and pokes that one way high in the air on the infield. He has to run around the first baseman, Lamb, the former Blue Jay, who makes the catch in foul territory to end the inning. Blue Jays up one after Bo and Vladdy come up with hits in the first.
What makes your car yours? It's the kid pleasers, late night dinners, and handy essentials. For everything you care about. Intact Insurance.
With trusted Subaru safety.
Welcome back. Coming off an outstanding 2023 campaign, Yusei Kikuchi came into the spring with a different mindset. You already heard Ben and Buck say that last year he was fighting for a spot in the rotation. He was constantly competing, and don't forget, he was getting used to the pitch clock. Well, now he has a job, and the confidence, we're already seeing that. John Schneider telling me that last year we were hoping for good results. This year, Yusei is expecting them. You guys mentioned the changeup. Schneider said that is the pitch he will be focused on watching from Kikuchi. In his last live BP, he was working on that changeup to right-handed batters. And Ben, we've already seen Kikuchi throw a handful of them there in that first.
Thank you, Hazel. Yeah, it was a strong first for Kikuchi. Ended up retiring 3 of the 4 he faced. And each spring, he's just come in a more comfortable position in a better spot to improve moving forward as he delivers a first pitch strike to Kanan Smith and Jigba. We talked about it a little bit before the game got underway today. You go back to his first spring before that tough initial season for the Blue Jays, he only showed up days before they started game action because he had signed with the Blue Jays on March 14th.
Yeah, man, that was a real challenge. You change teams, you come to a new team. First time he was trained in Florida, and he never caught up, and he got off to a tough start. And last year was a much different story for him.
Just missed there on the 0-2 with the breaking ball.
Kikuchi has as good a stuff as any left-hander in baseball. There's no question about it. Blue Jays have seen that when he was pitching with Seattle. He's always had a good fastball. He's got a good slider. But now, with the introduction of the curveball and the changeup, he should be able to get a lot of quick outs.
Espinal scoops up the grounder and tosses it over to Vlad. 3 straight retired by Kikuchi.
Yeah, we mentioned the delivery, and as I said, he has a very unusual grip on his changeup, and it's amazing to me. I've watched him, I talked to him. He carries a baseball around with him all the time when he grips that changeup, just to get comfortable with it. And he's got it in his hand, and he will spike his middle finger on the seam, and it's really an odd grip.
First pitch of fastball here to Jason DeLay, 0-1.
And he's just, I'm really encouraged about Kikuchi and where he is. And you remember, he's a free agent at the end of this year.
Yep. It's a big year for him. The 0-1. Called strike, and it's 0-2. And if he pitches like he did last year and pitches like he's pitching right now, I mean, he is going to be a very attractive free agent for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. There's the changeup. Kikuchi sets down DeLay, and there are 2 down.
Yeah, a very good changeup in a good spot, and that's a new wrinkle. And I tell you what, word's going to spread fast. Hey, Kikuchi's now, he's got a curveball and a changeup. It's an unusual grip. There you can barely see it out of his hand, but he comes set with that grip in his set position, and he'll hide it. And the reason pitchers grip that ball, like Gausman, who throws the splitter, and Swanson, who throws the splitter, they grip the ball, and you can see there's the changeup grip right there, and it's very unusual. That middle finger is on the seam of the ball, and it's a good pitch for him. And I'm telling you what, if I were Ross Atkins and Kikuchi gets off to a great start, I would sign him right away.
Price will probably only go up.
He's getting into the prime of his career.
1-1 pitch is low to Alika Williams with 2 outs, 2-1.
Yeah, he's a very interesting commodity to have, and I think he loves playing in Toronto.
The 2-1. Outside 3-1. I mean, it's been well documented, the tight-knit starting pitcher group, and he is as upbeat and happy of a guy as they have in that starting pitching group, and I think really gets along with everyone. As Williams thought he had ball 4 there, by the way, but Kikuchi delivers in with a fastball for a strike, and it's 3-2. Williams has to get the bat back. Alika Williams, the 37th overall pick in 2020 by the Rays out of Arizona State. The 3-2. Foul ball up the right side. Kikuchi with 2 strikeouts and 6 batters faced. Make it 3 strikeouts with a fastball there to freeze Williams and end the inning. A strong debut to 2024 for Yusei Kikuchi. The changeup working and the fastball working as well. Blue Jays up 1-0.
It's trade season on Sportsnet. Get insider information from hockey's most connected sources. Hockey Central Trade Deadline, presented by Bet365, March 8th on Sportsnet.
Mom's gonna love this.
All right, kids, come on. It's time for bed.
Good morning, Mr. Snuggles.
Make breakfast special with a delicious cocoa and hazelnut taste of Nutella.
You invest in yourself and in others. You make the commitment when times are tough to build a life guarded with gold. So when the unexpected happens and the world is in turmoil, you're protected. Invest in tomorrow, today. Visit invest.gold.
When you visit Audible, you can do anything. Chase your thrills. Journey into the great unknown.
Whoa.
And if you're lucky, discover something new to love. Audible ignites your imagination.
Introducing Tim's new sweet chili chicken loaded wraps and bowls.
Oh, there's like a hint of spice. I love it.
Packed with delicious and hearty ingredients and topped with our new sweet chili sauce. It's time for sweet chili chicken. It's time for Tim's.
Mavericks Raptors, Wednesday on Sportsnet 1.
The 2024 promotions and events schedule has arrived. Thanks to the help of local Toronto artist Casabianca Art, the Blue Jays are on day 3 of the reveal. Today's category is replica jerseys and wearables. Visit bluejays.com/promotions to learn more. Dalton Varsho leading off against Roansy Contreras. And Contreras misses outside to start the bottom of the second. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May. Varsho with a strong start to his spring a couple days ago. 1-0 pitch popped up just back of the shortstop Williams. Strong defender goes out into center field and makes the catch. 1 out. Welcome everyone watching on Sportsnet Pittsburgh today. Pirates and Blue Jays facing off in Dunedin, Florida.
Yeah, the Pirates are pretty optimistic about their season coming up, and Contreras has something to do with that. I talked with Derek Shelton, their manager, today, and they've made some nice additions, including former Blue Jay Rowdy Tellez, who's penciled in to play first base, and some of the Pirates are a little surprised what a good first baseman Rowdy is. We all know he's got power and everything, but he can play first base.
Isaiah Kiner-Falefa takes that one for a ride, but a step back and then in by Kanan Smith-Njigba, and there are 2 outs. Tellez donning the Pirates uniform yesterday. We've seen O'Neal Cruz for the Pirates. I mean, they have a good base of young talent there. Derek Shelton's team, Ke'Bryan Hayes obviously is one of their strong players too, and they, for the early half of the season last year, had a strong record. They got off to a pretty good start. It just faded a little bit in the back half as Santiago Espinal takes a pitch low.
They were 20-9 on May 31st, and after a big start, and certainly caught the imagination of the Pirate fans, but they slowed down a little bit. But they've added a lot of good players to the mix. Roldis Chapman, Josh Fleming, Marco Gonzalez, Martin Perez, as we mentioned, Edward Olivares, Rowdy Tellez. Billy McKinney's here today. He's probably going to get into a game. He's a former Blue Jay as well.
A few more well-traveled guys over the last couple of years than Billy McKinney. Played for the Yankees last season.
Josh Palacios had some big at-bats for the Pirates last year. A couple of big pinch hit home runs. Braxton Ashcroft getting loose for his opportunity today.
Santiago Espinal is going to take a 4-pitch walk here with 2 outs. So Nathan Lucas will get a chance at the plate with 2 down and a runner on. Yeah, I think you look at the pitching too, and there's a lot to like on the Pittsburgh side. You know, they just locked down Mitch Keller for a while. Martin Perez is obviously a known quantity, as is Marco Gonzalez. They traded for Bailey Falter last year, sending Rodolfo Castro to the Phillies. They have a lot to work with there and have a chance to be more consistent this year in a division that's pretty up in the air.
Yeah, it's very winnable, that's for sure. And they've got a lot of ground to make up. They won just 62 games a year ago. But there's no real juggernaut teams in the NL Central.
Lucas takes a pitch inside. 5 straight balls here for Roansy Contreras, who gave up 2 hits to start the game, but then had retired 4 in a row before walking Espinal.
2-out walks will drive managers crazy, especially at the bottom of the order. When you're dealing with 7, 8, 9 in the order, you give that guy 4 balls, and then you just ask yourself for trouble. Now he can't find his zone. Here's where Lucas can really keyhole, look for something he can hit hard and do some damage. He got a little pop.
At the AAA level, Lucas has displayed some power to hit home runs. Lucas with a big cut and a miss. He was trying to use all that power he had in there, and I don't blame him.
That's the kind of swing you want to see when a hitter's got a count in his favor, 2-0 early in the ball game. Turn it loose. Try to do some damage. See if you can't score that guy from first.
5 home runs for Lucas at AAA last year in 50 games, 11 home runs in a full season in 22 at AAA. Espinal leaves, and a liner over the shortstop into center field. Espinal easily goes first to third, and the Blue Jays have 2 on here with 2 outs. hit and run from Toronto.
Well, anytime you fall behind a hitter, you give him so much more of an advantage. He has more information. Lucas didn't hit it that hard, just hit it off the end of the bat. But Espinal, who was running on the pitch, moves first to third. A 2-out opportunity here for Cam Eden.
Eden, the 9-hitter and right fielder today, 25-year-old. Played 5 games with the Blue Jays at the end of last season and led the organization in stolen bases last year. Pitch outside.
Now here's a young hitter. He got a little bit of an opportunity last spring and got up to the big leagues to make his debut last year. But, you know, you want to do something to catch everybody's attention, but you got to get a good pitch to hit in this situation.
Bo Bichette waits on deck for the Blue Jays. And an uncomfortable swing there, 1-1.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Don Mattingly is going to preach to his hitters all season long. You got a guy that had a 2-out walk, fell behind the hitter ahead of you, and then gets over a base hit, and you chase a borderline pitch. Just can't do that.
The 1-1. Chopper foul, 1-2. Contreras had thrown 6 straight balls and then given up a base hit to Lucas and then thrown another ball before he just got these back-to-back strikes against Eden.
A couple of borderline pitches. They might have been balls as well, but Cam Eden chased him and fouled him off.
Now just trying to put something in play here with 2 outs. Espinal on third, Lucas on first. And a lot of speed at the plate. And he takes that one away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Blue Jays up by 1, looking for their first win in spring. Chris Bassett likely to come on for Toronto in the 3rd. And Eden gets it off the end of the bat, looping to right center. That lands for a base hit. Espinal scores. Up to third is Lucas, and Cam Eden fights back from down 1-2 to put up an RBI single and double the Blue Jay lead.
Yeah, that's a lesson for a young pitcher. You get down to the 7th spot in the order and you walk him with 2 outs. You're just asking for trouble. And Lucas gets a base hit, and these base hits weren't hit hard, but the Blue Jays bottom of the order does a good job. Cam Eden with a 2-strike, 2-out RBI single. He battled and got a base hit to drive in a run.
And now, Contreras has the top of the order to deal with. Bo Bichette with a screaming single in the 1st. Kind of like you said, the hits, 3 out of the 4 Blue Jay hits so far have not been hit very hard. But Contreras has created his own luck a little bit by the fact that this inning's still going. The 1-0. Peel down to first. No swings is Dan Iasonia. And it's 2-0.
Yeah, this is a good opportunity for Cam Eden to run. You got a good hitter at the plate, and you have the confidence that even though there are 2 outs, Bo, if he does swing, we'll put it in play.
53 stolen bases at AAA last year for Eden, who's going to take off after the pitch is in the dirt, throw to second, not in time. And Eden will take the base, although that will technically go down as a wild pitch, as that one bounced before Eden took off.
Yeah, he had a good read. He saw the ball was going to be in the dirt, and he had an aggressive secondary lead. Watch him bounce off the base. As soon as that ball goes off the catcher, he's on his way to second. Makes it easily. He's an awfully intriguing guy because he's got so much speed. You just like to see him get a little more consistent with the bat, and he'll work his way to the big leagues.
The Blue Jays don't have their leading base stealer from last year anymore, Whit Merrifield. 3-0 to Bichette, and he'll just check his swing on the breaking ball there. 3-1. 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. A run in this inning because of Eden's 2-out single. And one more ball here would load the bases for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Bichette pops it up behind the plate, so it's a full count.
So now if you're Bo, you saw a 3-0 breaking ball, you foul back a 3-1 fastball, you got to be thinking he's going to throw me a breaking ball now. He's got a base open, and I know Vladdy's on deck, but at the same time, Bo can do as much damage as Vladdy. Think breaking ball right here, Bo.
The 3-2. Breaking ball hooked on the ground to third, charging in, and the throw across the diamond by Gonzalez. to end the inning. Blue Jays score 1 under the sunny skies in Dunedin. It is beautiful here in Florida. We'll be back with the 3rd inning next.
The next Lotto 649 Gold Ball jackpot is a massive $54 million. Imagine the possibilities. Plus the classic $5 million jackpot. 2 chances to find your possible.
Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals host the Ottawa Senators on Monday Night Hockey tonight, 6:30 Eastern, 3:30 Pacific on Sportsnet. New pitcher into the game for the Blue Jays after 2 strong innings with 3 strikeouts from Yusei Kikuchi. Right-hander Chris Bassett comes on to face the former Blue Jay, Jake Lamb.
Chris Bassett had a terrific season a year ago. It didn't get off to a great start. His first start of the season, he had a rough one in St. Louis, but boy, after that, he was terrific.
It was about the worst start of Bassett's career. It was the first time he'd given up 4 home runs, gave up 9 earned runs. A lot of people were wondering what was going on, and then within weeks, he was right back to the guy that everyone expected him to be. And 200 innings pitched in this day and age of baseball, what he recorded last year, it was always impressive. It's even more impressive now.
Yeah, and there were only 5 pitchers in the big leagues that pitched 200 or more innings, and Chris Bassett was one of them. Ouch.
Cue shot to second. Lamb running hard. Espinal has to toss it with some zip, and he gets Lamb.
I'd like to see the exit velocity on that one. It wouldn't have broken the speed limit.
It was 42 miles per hour off the bat.
Yeah, you can drive just about anywhere at 42 miles an hour. Now, that was a great pitch. He got that fastball in on the hands of Jake Lamb, and that's what he does. You know, he does so many different things.
First pitch hits Ji-Hwan Bae.
That's that first pitch curveball he throws so often, and that one got away from him. You know, we've talked about it often. Bassett will throw 8 different pitches, but basically he relies on a 2-seam fastball, a cutter, and a slow curveball. Those are the bread and butter pitches in his arsenal. But he does have the other pitches should a particular pitch on a given day not be working, and he can go to those other pitches.
He gets the top of the order now. Nick Gonzalez lifts the first pitch above second base. Espinal looking up into the blue sky, makes the catch, and there are 2 down. And yeah, like you mentioned, I mean, if you look at the breakdown, he's throwing about 60 to 65% of just sinker, cutter, curveball.
Yeah, and after that, 4-seam fastball, a sweeper, a changeup. He'll throw occasional slider, and very rarely will he throw a split finger pitch. All season last year, he only threw 104 splits all year long.
Jared Triolo at the plate. Ji-Hwan Bae on first with some speed. And Triolo's going to ask for time.
Chris Bassett uses the pitch clock and pitch count better than any pitcher in baseball. And he had more violations. He had 12 violations last year, but most of those were by design. He was slowing down the game intentionally. He would take a ball in given situations just to get the right pitch.
Really slow curveball there. 66 miles per hour for strike 1.
Yeah, nobody does that better than Chris Bassett. He can flip that breaking ball in there, and hitters just can't wait long enough. They either take it or swing and miss by a mile.
I mean, you used to see that, you know, when fastballs were more maybe 88, 89, that would happen more. As Triolo lines it to left, and it's caught on a hop by Varsho. Ji-Hwan Bae up to second. And there are 2 on with 2 out. You might see guys throwing 67, 68 on their curveball when velocity was down more in general. But these days, I don't know if there's anyone that will throw the breaking ball that slow like Bassett will.
No, and, you know, he knows how to use it. He knows when to use it. And I'm sure giving up that base hit, he wanted to get that fastball inside a little bit more than he did to Triolo.
So a single and a hit batter this inning. And the first pitch to Henry Davis called strike 1. Henry Davis from New York State was the perfect game player of the year in New York coming out of high school, went undrafted. Fast forward 3 years later after his Louisville career, and he was the first overall pick. And a great block there by Jansen. Not only did he slide in the way, but he picked that ball clean off to his right.
And Danny has done a great job of improving on blocking balls. You could see how far he went to his right and actually got a glove on that ball that bounced well in front of home plate.
The 1-1 is popped up in foul territory. Vladdy racing back toward the netting. He stops and has to watch it go over the net. So it's 1-2.
That's going to be an interesting aspect of the Blue Jays' home ballpark, Rogers Center, with the new renovations. There's not as much foul territory as there has been in the past, and that's going to be a little bit challenging for pitchers. You know, you don't mind when you have a little more room down that right field line where the first baseman can run under a pop-up and get you an easy out. It's not going to be as many easy outs with those foul pop-ups at Rogers Center now.
And Chris Bassitt playing in Oakland for a lot of his career, where there's almost as much foul territory as there's fair territory in Oakland. I mean, you just have acres of space. And he often at that point in time would have seen former Blue Jay Matt Chapman run out into that huge left field line and make catches. 2-2 is low. Jansen popped out of the crouch to take a look at Triolo and throws it over the head of Bassitt, but Espinal alert and backs him up, so it's a full count.
Yeah, they put a pickoff play on, but the base runner at first base was heads up and got a look out from Tarek Brock, the first base coach.
Brock at first, Mike Rebello at third. Runners will be off on the full count 2-out pitch. Bassitt delivers, and Davis lines it to short. Caught by Bichette on the backhand side. Hot shot, but Bo stands in to make the play, and Chris Bassitt has a scoreless first inning of his spring. Bo Bichette flashing the leather at short for the first time in 2024.
In the last half of the second inning, Robinson gets the first hit off Ford. It's a homer into the left field stand.
Danny Jansen comes up with a big hit to complete the sweep.
Ball game. Romero blows it away. Springer's getting the wave home. And it's an inside the park home run.
Emily and Jane agree on pretty much everything. Except music. And phone carriers. Lucky for one of them, Rogers 5G still works out here. Only Rogers has Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. Get a 5G mobile plan for as low as $50 a month.
Mom's gonna love this.
All right, kids, come on. It's time for bed.
Good morning, Mr. Snuggles.
Make breakfast special with a delicious cocoa and hazelnut taste of Nutella.
Find a great deal for your ideal hotel. Open Trivago, type in where you want to go, select your check-in and check-out dates, and search. Compare prices for the same hotel and save up to $50 a night. Hotel Trivago.
Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is back, and he will lead off this inning. Second trip to the plate for Guerrero in his debut. And if you look at the last couple of years, there's definitely been a change. That 48 home run season to lead or tie for the lead in the American League. Last year was a far cry from that with 26 home runs. But Vladdy obviously looking a lot different this year. And Buck, the thought is that we're going to see a different product. Maybe not near 50 home runs, but we're going to see more from Vlad is the expectation this year as he pops one up in foul territory out of play.
Well, the challenge is that, you know, Vladdy put up such a big year in 21 when he finished second in the MVP to Shohei Ohtani, and he was an all-star, Silver Slugger. He hit 48 home runs, and then the home run totals have dropped ever since. Some of that has to do with the ballparks, obviously. They played some games here at TD Ballpark, and the majority of their games at Salem Field in Buffalo. But Vladdy himself, he feels much better. And, you know, he was carrying some extra weight. You don't move as freely as you should when you're packing on that extra weight. I think he's in a good spot right now.
Here's the 1-2 from the new pitcher, Braxton Ashcraft. It's outside, 2-2. And I don't know what you think about this, but I never personally thought of Vladdy as a home run hitter. Obviously, he's a guy who hits a lot of home runs, but he's a line drive hitter a lot of the time that happens to line balls very far, like this one to right field, but it'll hang up for Smith and Jigba, one down. I always thought of him more in the lofty comparison, but Miguel Cabrera category rather than like a Giancarlo Stanton pure home run hitter type guy. What do you think about that?
No, Vladdy's a good hitter. You make a great point. He hits a lot of line drives. He had a pretty good at bat there, although he didn't really get on that ball. That got on him a little bit, but yeah, that direction of the hit and the fly out to right is encouraging as well.
Justin Turner a little bit frozen on that pitch. It's strike one for Ashcraft. Turner, a guy who's hit 30 home runs in his career. And he is the veteran in this clubhouse. Second year in a row that he's entering a new clubhouse and expecting to be a veteran presence. He talked a little bit when he was signed about that experience in Boston last year, and the way he went about it is, he said in this day and age, you can't go in and expect guys, especially that you haven't played with and don't know, to just take everything at face value that you say. He had to go in and earn the respect of those guys, and then he could talk to them like a leader, like he was with the Dodgers for so long.
Yeah, I think Turner's a little humbled in that regard, and everybody has an idea of what he's done in his career, and because of that, when he walks in, he carries a little swagger. I mean, George Springer even pointed it out to me, and I was talking with Springer, and they are locker mates in the clubhouse here in Dunedin, and he kind of pointed over his shoulder and said, that guy right there, he's the man. And here he is in his first year. And, you know, he's been the man. He's won a World Series. He's been an RBI guy. And, you know, as we talked about with Bo, not many guys are true leaders. And, you know, there's just a handful of guys that are in that position to speak up and also back it up with their play. Turner's done that.
He absolutely has. Justin Turner made the playoffs every single season from 2014 to 2022 with the Dodgers. He bounces it towards third, backhand play, and Gonzalez throws over to first. 2 outs. But Turner, you know, one of the best things he brings is the competitiveness. He is a very tough out. That even, you know, it's a simple ground out, but it's an 8-pitch at bat. He's not going to let you get him out very easily.
No, and that's going to pay dividends to the next guy as you elevate the pitcher's pitch count. He's like a boxer, you know, you get up to 20 pitches an inning, you start to get arm weary. A boxer that goes 3 rounds, you know, he's kind of tired at the end. And you can see Vladdy and Turner talking a little bit about their respective at-bats, I'm sure.
Vladdy certainly, you know, knows the career of Turner. Turner, a guy that actually overlapped in career with Vladimir Guerrero Sr. And Danny Jansen hits a high fly ball to left center. Olivares jogging forward, makes a 2-hand catch, and Braxton Ashcraft sets down the Blue Jays 1-2-3 in the bottom of the third. 2-0 Toronto going to the fourth in Dunedin.
Osteoarthritis affects up to 3 million Canadians in everyday tasks like going downstairs or getting out of your car. That's why Kintec's proud to launch the variable density osteoarthritis orthotic. Get yours today by going to kintec.net. Book now.
Mom's gonna love this.
All right, kids, come on. It's time for bed.
Good morning, Mr. Snuggles.
Make breakfast special with a delicious cocoa and hazelnut taste of Nutella.
When my hearing changed, Hearing Life understood. I don't just want to keep hearing my customers. I want to keep being me.
Book a free hearing test with one of our hearing professionals and see how our personalized care can help you keep being you. Love your ears at Hearing Life.
Welcome back. Chris Bassitt back on the mound this afternoon. He threw a career-high 200 innings last season, and he credits the Blue Jays training staff for keeping himself and everyone else healthy. And with such a diverse rotation and clubhouse, Bassitt shared that he enjoyed different methods of training the club was open to trying. Japanese, Korean, Chinese apparatus or techniques. There's a lot to learn from other cultures, Bassitt said. Now, he said, we did lose Hyun-Jin Ryu and then joke, guys, we still have his machines and we're going to all use it again. Ben?
Well, Hazel, I feel like Hyunjin might be invoicing them at a certain point there. He's got to get those machines back. And it was notable, Chris tweeted out a couple days ago when Hyunjin Ryu ended up signing in Korea, a long message about what it was like to play with him. And they were just together for one season of Ryu's 4 years here. But Hyunjin, a lot of different guys talked about it. Clearly had a big impact on all facets of this team, not just the starting rotation.
Yeah, Ryu's signing was the first of several signings in a row. That brought in Bassett. Eventually that brought in a trade with Barrios, and it brought in a signing of Chris Bassett. So Ryu was the first in that list. Kikuchi also brought in as a free agent. So yeah, Ryu had an impact with this team, not only the pitchers, but the position players as well. And we certainly want to wish him well in Korea, back to the team that he started with.
Yeah, pretty fun. Edward Olivares at the plate. Chris Bassett in his second inning of work. Allowed 2 base runners in the third, but got out of it on a hot shot liner by Henry Davis to short. Here's Bassett's 2-1. Just a little bit low there with a fastball. And it's 3-1. And do you think it, for Bassett, we talked about so many pitches for him. Do you think it is tougher for him to get the feel back for everything as the ball's bounced up the middle? Espinal throws over to first, 1 down. A lot of guys are working on, making sure 2 pitches, 3 pitches, 4 pitches feel good for them. He's working on 8 pitches to make sure that he's still got the feel for them after the offseason.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem for him because he's done it his whole career. He's never been a hard thrower. He's never been a guy that can sit back and say, okay, I got my fastball today, I'm good. And he learned early in his career that he had to do a lot of different things to be effective in pitching the big leagues. So he's been doing it his whole career. So he's going to come in here. We've seen him throw some very good curveballs early on. But for Bassett, it's all about refining the location of those pitches, about not only seeing them break, but he wants to make sure he gets them in the right spot.
Kanan Smith-Njigba sends Espinal on the run. Nice play deep in the hole by the second baseman who throws to first. 2 down, and we'll actually talk to Chris Bassett in the bottom half of the inning after he's expected to come out here at the end of the top of the 4th.
Yeah, and, Bassett, he knows the value of this good defense, and Espinal made a nice play on a tricky ball right there at second. As we see early in this spring, another Pirate pitcher, Colin Shelby, loosening up, so there's going to be a lot of pitches in this game. I hope it's not 19 like we had on Saturday.
27 runs, 19 pitchers. I mean, it was still under 3 hours, so the pitch clock did its job, but it was quite the back and forth ball game between the Phillies and the Blue Jays. Jason DeLay with a second opportunity here, the catcher.
But, you talk about Bassett and what he does, and every pitch he throws leads him to a decision on what to throw next. It's always about sequencing and what the batter's reaction was and just what he sees from the hitter. I mean, he probably less than any pitcher in the rotation will rely on a pre-game scouting report. I mean, he wants to know strengths and weaknesses, but he'll go into the game and learn about adjustments as the course of the game continues. He'll see one bat and he say, okay, that batter's looking at this pitch and he's looking in that area. I've got to counteract that.
Vladdy on the run and a basket catch on a pop-up off the handle. Ends a 1-2-3 inning. Strong performance for Chris Bassett. We'll talk to him next on Sportsnet.
Emily and Jane agree on pretty much everything. Except music. And phone carriers. Lucky for one of them, Rogers 5G still works out here. Only Rogers has Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. Get a 5G mobile plan for as low as $50 a month.
Our new home. Somewhere we can build a life. And I'm gonna do everything I can to look out for you. And that starts with being smart about our family's financial future.
Welcome to Cover Direct. How can I help?
Hi, I'd like to get a quote for family life insurance, please.
Okay. If you're aged 18 to 70, you can apply for up to $1.5 million of coverage and help give your family some peace of mind.
That's great.
You won't need medical or blood tests to be approved. There are just a few health and lifestyle questions, and you can get it done in just one handy call.
Sounds good.
Okay. For $100,000 of coverage, prices start at $9.66 a month, or just 32 cents a day.
That's less than I thought. And that money could pay for the mortgage for him one day.
Cover Direct Family Life Insurance is only available from us. You can't get it anywhere else.
I'll do it.
We're Canada's most trusted direct life insurance provider. To get a free, no-obligation quote, call one of our trusted insurance advisors today at 1-844-996-0077 or visit coverdirect.ca.
Right-hander Colin Selby in the game for the Pirates after his first year of Major League Baseball back in 2023. Selby from Chesapeake, Virginia, and comes from a very unconventional route. Played at Randolph-Macon College in Ashland, Virginia, a D3 school that's produced 3 Major League players ever and none since 1967 until last year when Selby pitched in the major leagues. And it is, Buck, one of the cool things about baseball. It's not like football all the time where it's the Alabamas, the Auburns, the LSUs. Division III baseball, junior college baseball, you will find guys from a lot of different spots.
Yeah, and there's no reason that you can't come from a D3 school or a junior college. I mean, as long as you're playing, you've got a chance to be discovered.
Dalton Varsho has to jump out of the way of that first fastball, but he's all right, and it's 1-0. Speaking of right-handers, one just finished up a scoreless 2-inning performance in his debut in the 2024 spring. Chris Bassitt joins us now. Chris, Ben Shulman and Buck Martinez, thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So, Chris, assess what you wanted to accomplish today and how that went for you.
Yeah, overall good. I mean, my body feels really good. It's just obviously with shortened innings, it's kind of hard to work pitches. So, yeah, overall, it's just kind of. Yeah, overall, it's more so just throwing pitches, not so much worrying about like counts and stuff like that. I'm throwing pitches where I usually won't throw in counts, but overall, like I said, just the amount of pitches I throw, I got to work them in.
Last year, your first year with the Blue Jays, you threw 17 2/3 innings. What's your goal this spring? Is there a number that you have in mind that you want to accomplish before you break?
No, I mean, I think it's more so like Snides and Pete in the front office, and obviously myself, kind of working and just where my body's at, what we need to be ready for the season, and obviously thinking long term of kind of what I need to do or not do in the spring to make sure that I can kind of be ready for late in the year.
Chris, you guys as a pitching staff have tremendous chemistry, but how does it help you getting ready for the 24 season now that you have a season under your belt with Jeff Ware, David House, and Pete Walker?
Yeah, obviously a lot. I think, I mean, people talk a lot about our pitching staff and how we really can't do much better than last year, but I think we can do a lot better than last year, to be honest with you. And I think the biggest thing, like you said, is just being comfortable with each other. I think, obviously, last year, like Jose getting back in rhythm of what he is, like what we all expect him to be. Kikuchi doing the same thing, and now I think we have a very confident group, and then obviously a very close group.
Chris, how do you tackle this offseason? Because each of the last 3 years, you set a new career high in innings pitched. Are you doing different things to manage your arm with the fact that you have pushed it to a new level each of the last 3 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think it's just being comfortable, understanding how long spring training is and what I need to do to kind of have my body physically ready to be ready for spring. And not overdo it. I mean, obviously, when you're young, you want to impress a lot of guys early in camp. You want to be throwing really hard, and you want to kind of show off a little bit. But now I'm pretty comfortable with myself, and obviously with the guys on the team, and they understand that 35 years old, I can't really do what I'm doing at 25 years old. So overall, I would say it's just being comfortable.
I like the 35-year-old version of Chris Bassitt.
Yeah, me too. 35 knows how to pitch. 25 had no clue what he was doing.
Let's talk about your catchers a little bit, because I think they don't get as much credit as they deserve. I know you started out the season throwing a lot to Danny, but then at the end you threw a lot to Kirky. How did that relationship improve over the course of the season?
Yeah, great. I mean, I think with Jano and Kirky, I mean, it's just I've always talked to them, and I've preached to them. I preach to a lot of the pitchers. Like, you have to understand kind of your misses. You got to understand like your damage kind of thing. What hitters obviously are trying to do to your game and what they want out of certain pitches and basically just stay away from that spot. So I think more so than anything, I think our catchers and our pitching staff and stuff like that have learned kind of what it takes for me to be really, really good, and it's hard to hit damage off me. I understand that when I'm throwing pitches in certain zones. So I would say more so it's setups, more so it's count oriented of what pitches work, what they don't work, and just staying out of those like stupid mistakes more than anything. And I think the catcher's understanding my game now. I think they're able to guide me kind of out of those mistakes.
Chris, speaking of your teammates, Yusei Kikuchi just won. He was showcasing a bit of his new changeup. Obviously, you just came in last season, but he broke out. What do you think of him as a pitcher and as a personality with you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think people don't realize how funny he is and how energetic he is. I mean, obviously, super, super hard worker. Loves the craft of baseball. Loves what he does. But like I said, the comedian side of him is, I would say, the biggest part that people kind of miss.
With this team, obviously, and you talked about it a little bit, and Pete Walker is on your side as far as that goes. He thinks there's a lot of upside in your pitching staff, even though you had great years last year. There's even more that he expects from you pitchers this season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think we're not trying to duplicate last year. We're trying to be a lot better than last year. And I think we have the guys to do it. We have the arms to do it. And like I said, now being comfortable with each other, having a lot of confidence from last year, understanding our games better. I really think we can take it to a whole nother level. Now it's just doing the smart things in the weight room and the training room to make sure we just stay healthy. And I think that's one of the biggest things that can kind of get in our way is health. And I think we do one heck of a job of kind of staying in front of that.
Got to keep your eye on the ball, Chris, as you always know.
I got it.
You know, Chris, I've been around pitching staffs for a long time, but this pitching staff, to a man, starters, relievers, minor leaguers, you guys seem as though you're anxious to share information and pass on your experience to some of the younger guys in camp. How effective is that, do you think, for an organization where you could have a pitcher from A-ball sitting talking baseball with you and Gausman over the course of a spring?
Yeah, I think we have a very unique group where we had a lot of meetings, obviously, so far, and I think kind of the message has always been like, yeah, we have a lot of veteran guys, but I'd say the biggest thing is we kind of have all the boxes so-called checked. Like, if you speak Japanese, we got someone for you. If you speak Spanish, we got someone for you. If you're working on a splitter, we got someone for you. A sinker, we got someone for you. Curveball, I mean, I always throw almost every pitch, but unless you got a knuckleball, we got every base covered. So yeah, we have the personalities that truly care about everyone here, and not just that. I would say the biggest thing is we genuinely have the power pitcher, we have the finesse pitcher, we kind of have everything kind of checked. So whatever your game is, I kind of think we have it covered.
You know, I think R.A. Dickey was in camp in the minor leagues, so we got knuckleball covered too.
Yeah, he was. I saw him walking around. I was like, okay, stick around, and then we got every box checked.
Chris, you know, there's been a lot of talk around the team so far this year. You know, a renewed sense of, you know, maybe some seriousness and some motivation to go out and do what you guys have been expected to do. A lot of that talk on the offensive side, but are you feeling that kind of attitude shift on the pitching side of the team as well?
Yeah, I just think for whatever reason, I think a lot of people think that we're going to take a step back as a pitching staff. And I'm not saying Blue Jays fans or you guys by any means. I'm just thinking nationally. And I think Bo said it best a while ago. I think I saw a quote where he said something like, we're kind of dotted for the first time in a while. So I truly look forward to that. I think that's kind of better than trying to live up to so-called expectations. People doubting you, it fuels a fire in you, which I really enjoy.
Winning is hard. Winning championships is extremely hard, but I think with Bo speaking out, and I know there were a couple of pitchers, Kevin got up and spoke early on in the spring, it seems to me like, in years past, and I've been on teams, you've been on teams where pitchers and position players are separate, but this seems to be a total 26-man unit together with one goal in mind.
Yeah, no doubt. I think that was a big thing last year. As I thought pitchers kind of worried about pitchers and hitters kind of worried about hitters. And obviously we cared for each other off the field. But I thought we kind of separated ourselves in the aspect of kind of, like I said, just pitchers, just let's focus on each other. But now I think it's more so we're gonna erase that line and say, hey, like we're gonna help both sides. Hitters are gonna help us. We're gonna help y'all. And we're kind of all in this together. So if we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down together. And if we're gonna win it, we're gonna win it together.
Chris, we are excited to see you guys do it together. Great job today, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Chris.
That is Chris Bassitt, right-hander, starter for the Toronto Blue Jays. 2 scoreless innings, gave up 1 hit and forced 3 ground balls, not to mention 2 pop-ups. The Blue Jays, while he was talking, a Dalton Varsho single, an IKF walk, and an Espinal walk. Lucas just struck out, but Cam Eden finds himself in a run-producing opportunity for the 2nd time today. He singled in the Blue Jays' 2nd run back in the 2nd. Eden in a hole now, though, as Selby hits the zone twice to make it 0-2.
Chris Bassitt was refreshing with all of his comments and very, very interesting. I thought it was interesting his last point, how the pitchers and position players are on the same page this year, and that's a huge aspect of how you start to think about winning.
Yeah, you can imagine, I mean, they're separated in so many ways, kind of like a football team where there's the offense and the defense. It's not like the pitchers are out there taking ground balls at shortstop and you know, talking with guys during the drills and the training that they're doing. They have to find time in the clubhouse to really make sure that that bond is together. And how much do you think that helps a team when everyone really is on the same page, as Bichette rips it foul with the bases loaded?
Yeah, I think it's really huge, and they are very close. They, you know, you see them in a dugout during the game. The pitchers are there talking to position players in that aspect. But what he said was sometimes off the field, you have a tendency to stay in your groups, and I think this team is going to make a concerted effort to make sure that they get together off the field, go out to dinner once in a while as a group, as a team, and just kind of talk things out.
Bichette takes strike 2, and Selby here a strike away after loading the bases from getting out of it. Bo singled in the 1st, grounded out with 2 runners in scoring position to end the 2nd. 73 RBIs a year ago in 135 games. And a good take there as Bichette stays alive. It's 1-2.
Bo's one of the best 2-strike hitters in baseball, and you could bet early in the spring he's still going to take this as an opportunity to work on that skill. Blue Jays have the bases loaded, and he's in the hole 1-2.
Selby's pitch. Bichette hits a fly ball to right, playable for Smith and Jigba, who circles around it and makes the catch to end the inning. So the Blue Jays come up with a hit and 2 walks, but strand 3. They're up 2-0 going to the 5th.
Can your paper towel handle tough messes? Try Royale Tiger Towel. The strong fiber structure features 2 thick layers for great absorbency and tackles the toughest messes. For the strongest Tiger Towel ever, try Royale Tiger Towel.
Introducing the new 2024 Ford F-150. Tough this smart can only be called F-150.
KFC's new Extra Crispy box is only $5.49. 2 pieces of extra crispy, popcorn chicken, seasoned fries, and all the extra crispy bits. KFC Extra Crispy box. Get it for a limited time.
The next Lotto Max jackpot is an estimated $10 million. What are your dreams?
I've always wanted to start my own coffee company.
Grown on the side of our own mountain. With our faces on it.
Get your Lotto Max tickets today.
Your dream vacation plans probably don't include hepatitis A or B, but many common travel activities can put you at risk of acquiring these 2 serious liver diseases. So plan on talking to your doctor about Twinrix, because you are a traveler.
The only thing better than one giveaway item at a Blue Jays game is a bundle with 2 giveaway items. Check out the Jano Bundle. The first 15,000 fans on April 29th will receive a Danny Jansen new blue replica jersey and replica glasses. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to learn more.
That's pretty cool. You're going to see a whole bunch of Danny Jansen's walking around Rogers Center with his white glasses on.
We saw the mustaches last year. It'd be pretty funny to see the Rec Spec crowd. And here is Jordan Romano in the game right now, pitching to Danny Jansen. The Blue Jays closer delivers home, and the first pitch popped up right side by Alika Williams. Vladdy ranging, back stops, and makes the catch. 1 out. Blue Jays with a defensive substitution after Bo Bichette hit for the 3rd time today. Josh Kasevich is in the game at short. Kasevich, a 23-year-old from Palo Alto, California, spent most of last year at High A and hit pretty well, or spent all of last year at High A, pardon me, and hit pretty well. Hit .284 and drove in 50 in 94 games.
Yeah, he's a very good defender, and he grew up in Palo Alto where Stanford is, but he played at University of Oregon.
Still got him a couple trips to Stanford every year in the Pac-12 as Romano misses inside to Jake Lamb, who spent 12 games with the Blue Jays a couple years ago. Next pitch is lined by Lamb to left, and Varsho is on it. 3 pitches, 2 outs here for Romano, who is coming off another strong season as the Blue Jays closer. He has just been racking up saves recently. Had 36 last year, 36 the year before that, all-star in both of those seasons.
Yeah, this is always a challenge for relief pitchers, especially closers, to get ready for the spring. Last year, he only pitched in 8 games through 7 2/3 innings all spring long. But
G1 base strike
he would
one.
like to have quick innings, and for me, that pitch right there is a huge pitch for him. That first pitch strike with a fastball. He throws 97, 98, and will touch 100 from time to time. And sometimes he gets a little slider happy, but boy, he's been effective.
This is downstairs there. You can hear him grunting on each fastball.
Yep. You see another Pirate reliever loosening up. That's Willie Peralta, the veteran, loosening up. He's going to get some work here.
Swing and a miss. Another hard fastball at 97. This is the first time he's thrown in a game, so to be up at pretty much mid-season velocity is impressive for Romano.
Yeah, watch this slider. You're going to bury this slider in the dirt and might get a swing and a miss. No, another fastball upstairs. He's got his grunt in good shape.
Yeah, man. He sounds like he's in the final of the U.S. Open or something playing tennis right now.
Sounds like Robbie Ray.
The 2-2. Check swing tapper. That time he went with the slider, but just didn't get it low enough.
Yeah, Jordan will throw 2 sliders. He uses the slider with the same grip, but he kind of thinks fastball when he wants to throw that hard slider and just cuts it. And then he'll throw that deep slider. He wants to go straight down. That's the one he'll get a lot of swing and misses on.
2-2 fouled back by Bae out of South Korea. Jordan's had a busy week, by the way. He's opened up maybe about 1 million packs of baseball cards. You walk in the clubhouse. I went over to check out some of them, and they have some extra drawers, and they're just cards spilling out of his locker. Swing and a miss on the elevated fastball in a 1-2-3 inning for Romano. Halfway through this ball game, Blue Jays up 2-0 in Dunedin.
What would you like to pay for your hotel room tonight? $249, $225, or $199? Same room, same service, just different prices. It's really up to you. Well, nobody asks you this at reception, but that's exactly what Trivago does. Trivago compares hotel prices from hundreds of booking sites. So, save yourself valuable time and money. Use Trivago, compare hotel prices, and save up to $50 a night. Hotel Trivago.
Cough and cold symptoms? Buckley's knows you'll try anything for relief. It's not that we don't believe in the near mythical powers of chicken noodle soup. We just believe in Buckley's more. Buckley's. It tastes awful, and it works.
In 5 years, I'll be king of the court.
I'll give my place a total makeover.
In 5 years, my family will be joining me.
Leon's No Money Miracle event ends Wednesday. It's your last chance to get amazing deals on furniture. Hurry in and save up to 50% on select mattresses. Plus, other than the taxes and fees, don't pay until 2026 with 0% interest. Ends Wednesday.
What if we told you there's a place where it's all happening? And what if we told you you already live here?
A big matchup out west tonight. Connor McDavid and the Oilers host the LA Kings. Catch the action 9:30 Eastern, 7:30 Mountain on Sportsnet West and Sportsnet 1. Bottom of the 5th inning, Wiley Peralta into the game for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and the Blue Jays have the middle of the order against Willie Peralta. It's Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Justin Turner, and Danny Jansen.
Well, Peralta is now 34 years old. He is from the Dominican Republic. He's had plenty of time in the big leagues, over 10 seasons, starting out with the Milwaukee Brewers back in 2012. Did not pitch in 2020, and then pitched the last 2 seasons. Didn't pitch last year. His last 2 seasons in the big leagues were 21 and 22 with the Tigers.
Well, that's not Vladimir Guerrero Jr. It's a pinch hitter. Spencer Horwitz is into the game. So Vladdy ends the day 1 for 2 in his debut, and Horwitz now in and likely going to play first base as well. Pitch upstairs, and it's 2-1. Justin Turner is still on deck for the Blue Jays, so he'll likely get a third plate appearance. Horwitz swings and misses. It's 2-2 against Peralta, who was very effective a couple of those years in Milwaukee as a starter that you were talking about, and has fought his way onto a couple rosters in recent years on minor league deals, like the Tigers. And he's on a minor league deal right now with Pittsburgh, producing a pop-up here by Horwitz behind second base. Triolo going out, called off by the speedy center fielder Bay. 1 out.
And Bay did a good job of calling off the infielder, but you're right about Peralta. He had a 17-win season in 2014 with the Brewers when he made 32 starts, and he was a regular starter for them. Boy, this is an interesting guy. Chad Green. He pitched well at the end of the season after coming back from Tommy John surgery, and I expect him to be even better this year. Second year removed from that surgery, has a tendency to see the best come out.
And he was a big guy for the Yankees before that injury. Turner takes 2 pitches out of the zone. It's 2-0 in favor of Justin Turner. Turner, the DH today, swings and fouls it back. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Yeah, when you have a player with the experience of a Justin Turner as a manager, you're going to ask him, hey, how many at-bats do you think you need? How many at-bats do you want? And I like the fact that he's getting 3 at-bats here. You know, oftentimes you'll see a batter take 2 at-bats and then early in the spring just say, okay, that's enough for today. But when you have 3 at-bats, at least you got a chance to see a few more pitches, and then you can really work on things.
Swing and a miss there by Turner, 3-2. And Turner, in 3 at-bats so far, has seen 19 pitches. He's about to see his 20th pitch.
Yeah, and that's exactly what he wants to accomplish.
He barrels up that one to center. Bay racing over toward left center, racing back, and it's over his head. Turner jogging around first, and he will stride into second. We'll see what the scoring is, but it might be a double here for Justin Turner.
Ji-Hwan Bae took a bad route to that baseball, and, you know, he split his time between second base and center field last year for the Pirates, but he gets a real flat angle and tries to run directly across to his right. Watch how he moves after this ball. He's too shallow right there, and then the ball carries, and he can't recover in time. It's over his head. It should be scored a double. He misplayed that ball, and that should have been a routine out.
Turner is being pinch ran for. Brian Servin, the catcher out there, in the DH spot. Here's the starting catcher today, Danny Jansen. They will rule that a double, by the way. So chance here for Jansen to drive in a run. Drove in 53 last year in 86 games. Outside 2-0, and Jansen with, a catcher is never going to play or unlikely to play 162 games, but Jansen with some numbers there that if they were over maybe 110, 120 games, he could have been a 25 to 30 homer guy, maybe 80 RBIs if they can keep him in the lineup. I mean, he's even a guy that you'd like to DH on some days potentially if you have the spot open because he can do so much with the bat.
Yeah, Danny has really refined his approach at the plate. He simplified things, thinking about staying on the left side of the diamond, not trying to hit anything to the right side too often, and that's where his power is. He had 15 doubles and 17 home runs a year ago and had very limited at-bats, and he got hit on the hand again, and he's had a couple of broken hands over the course of his career.
The 3-1. Jano takes ball 4.
The Blue Jays last year, they didn't score as many runs as they had hoped they would. And a lot of it has to do with not being able to add on runs. And this is what Don Mattingly and Guillermo Martinez, the hitting coach, want to preach to the hitters is, hey, don't sit back just because we have a lead, especially in the AL East where these potent lineups are. Keep adding on to the runs, especially when you get into the middle of a team's bullpen.
Pinch runner for Danny Jansen, by the way. Max McDowell is into the game at first. We'll see if Dalton Varsho here can help the Blue Jays get some tack-on runs. Varsho with 3 RBIs on Saturday. Hard ground ball right side. On the backhand side, picked by Lamb. Throw to first for 1. But Varsho beats it out, and the ball goes all the way to the dugout fence. Servin will stay at third because it ricocheted back to Peralta. So a fielder's choice there for Varsho, and Servin advances 90 feet as McDowell's called in.
Yeah, Varsho is a very difficult base runner to double up as Servin ends up at third base. And Varsho hits it to the first baseman, but he runs so well, it's a difficult hitter to double up as he legs it out. The throw was wide of first base, and Peralta couldn't make the play, but it bounces right back to the pitcher.
Pinch runner for Varsho is Stuart Burrow, who takes off on the first pitch. Throw down to second, and the second baseman Triolo stepped in front of the bag in case the Blue Jays were trying to put on some sort of first and third steal play. So Burrow, one of the most prolific base stealers the Blue Jays organization have, swipes a bag here.
Didn't waste any time, did he?
No, he got on and got running quickly. Stole a base on Saturday as well. IKF at the plate and a pitch in the dirt. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, Baroa and Eden feel like they're competing a little bit for a similar role. They're the stolen base guys in the system. Baroa with 47 last year, Eden with 53. And Baroa already with 2 here in the spring. IKF shoots it to the right side on 2 hops. It's knocked down by the first baseman, Lamb, who will just follow the ball to the bag and end the inning. A double off the bat of Justin Turner, but 2 stranded. The Blue Jays up 2-0 going to the 6th.
In the last half of the second inning, Robinson gets the first hit off fourth. It's a homer into the left field stand.
Danny Jansen comes up with a big hit to complete the sweep.
Ball game. Romano blows it away. Springer's getting the wave home. And it's an inside the park home run.
It's bad out there, folks. It's a perfect day to stay home and hibernate.
Unhibernate with trusted Subaru capability and all-wheel drive.
Cough and cold symptoms? Buckley's knows you'll try anything for relief. It's not that we don't believe in the near mythical powers of chicken noodle soup. We just believe in Buckley's more. Buckley's. It tastes awful and it works.
City TV Plus has new seasons of all your favorite shows on demand. Plus more.
Canada's Got Talent, $1 million season!
Try it, stream it, love it. Start your free trial with Prime Video channels today.
So, we checked your coverage, and it looks good. At TD Insurance Auto Centers, we'll handle your claim on site.
So easy. Is this a trick? With advisors, repairs, and rentals, there's no drama here. TD. Ready for you.
Wrap up the May-long weekend at Rogers Centre with a special giveaway dedicated to our Canadian closer. The first 15,000 fans on May 20th will receive a Jordan Romano blue replica jersey. Visit BlueJays.com/promotions to secure your tickets. After a strong inning from the closer and a strikeout to finish it off, he's signing some autographs because Chad Green is in the game now for the Blue Jays, the longtime Yankee, starting his second season with Toronto, and he gets a swing and a miss here to start the top of the sixth.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier Chad Green coming back from Tommy John last year and pitched very well at the end of the season, but I think his fastball is going to be even better this year. He is really a veteran in that bullpen, and you know their bullpen, I think their bullpen might be the best in baseball, given the depth, the different looks they have. Two good left-handers, powerful right-handers.
Pinch hitter Sung-Chae Chan sends a fly ball to left, but it's caught on the run. That's Stuart Baroa out there in left field, who pinch ran for Varsho last inning, so there's one down. You'll see the Pirates now making a lot of switches. One of them, a former Blue Jay right now, Billy McKinney, is stepping into the batter's box.
Yeah, Billy McKinney's bounced around a little bit, came to the Blue Jays originally from the Yankees, and then went back to the Yankees, and he's had some time with Oakland and just moved around. Had a chance to catch up with him a little bit.
McKinney hit 12 home runs for the Blue Jays in 2019, the most he's hit in his career. By the way, we'll talk with manager John Schneider coming up in the bottom of the sixth inning. McKinney came on really strong for the Yankees when he first signed with them last year. Fouls it back in, it's 1-2. They were in desperate need of some help. They had lost a lot of injuries, or lost a lot of guys to injuries in the outfield, signed a bunch of guys kind of, and McKinney emerged from the pack as someone who was hitting for a lot of power for them at one point and managed to stay on the team for a while. 1-2 is high, 2-2.
Yeah, he's kind of an interesting guy. He's never had a real extended opportunity to play every day. The most he played was in 2021 when he played in 116 games.
But that was with 3 different teams.
Yeah.
McKinney hits it hard past the dive at first of Horwitz and into right field. Base hit for Billy McKinney. Let's go down to Hazel.
Ben, you guys were talking about Chad Green and his time in New York. He's hoping to tap into the success he had as a New York Yankee. He has switched his jersey number from number 37 to 57, the number he wore when he was in the Yankee bullpen. Guys?
Interesting, Hazelbuck. How much superstition did you have based around your number? Did it?
I wore number 13, Ben.
All the time? Yeah, so not a lot. Not a lot.
No, I had different numbers. I had number 21 in Kansas City, and that's the number I wanted. I had 21 in Kansas City and Milwaukee, and I wanted 21 when I got to Toronto. I'll tell you the rest of that story after this pitch. But I was told, no, 21, we're saving 21 for a prospect. I said, really? I got 11 years in the big leagues, and I can't have my number? And their prospect was Ron Shepard, so they said you can have 56 or 13. I said, I'll take 13.
Henry Davis strikes out looking. His third plate appearance ends in a backwards K, and there's 2 outs now for Chad Green. And Chad Green, you know, a big thing that John Schneider was talking about when we asked him about Green in the week leading up to these games, he's just got no restrictions now. He spent a year pitching, you know, with some strict limits. What can he do? What can he do? We have to make sure that we manage it right. And according to Schneider, he is now fully let loose as a pitcher just like everyone else, and that's got to be exciting for not just Chad Green but also, you know, Pete Walker and everyone involved on the pitching side too.
You know what they have been? They have kind of 2 units down in their bullpen, which is really beneficial. There's a jam job.
Sergio Alcantara rolls over to second and a throw over to first to end the inning. A very, very nice inning for Chad Green, and John Schneider will join us when we return in this 2-0 ball game in Dunedin.
Toronto meets Tampa Bay. Let's go. Rays, Blue Jays, Wednesday on Sportsnet.
Emily and Jane agree on pretty much everything, except music. And phone carriers. Lucky for one of them, Rogers 5G still works out here. Only Rogers has Canada's largest and most reliable 5G network. Get a 5G mobile plan for as low as $50 a month.
Meet Milo. He's part border collie and part party animal. Meet the new Bissell Little Green Hydro Steam Pet. It's part steam-powered stain remover and part party animal patrol. Bissell, a new breed of clean.
To live life to the fullest, you gotta soak it all in. D'Italiano.
Kings, Oilers, tonight on Sportsnet 1 and West.
Sean Sullivan into the ball game for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The right-hander takes over. It's 2-0 Blue Jays, bottom of the 6th. Ben Schulman, Buck Martinez, and Hazel May. And we have the pleasure of being joined by Blue Jays manager John Schneider. Schneider, thanks so much for coming on.
You bet. What's how you guys doing? Ben, Buck, great to talk to you guys.
We're doing a little bit better than we were on Saturday. Obviously, the different role of pitchers you're running out there today. Give us your assessment of what you've seen from your pitchers so far.
Yeah, Pete's doing a little better than the last couple of days, too, right now. I mean, I think kind of, you know, with you say and Chris, kind of exactly what we were hoping for, delivery-wise, pitch-wise. Just really encouraged with kind of where they are physically this year as opposed to last year, too. So good inning from Jordy, good inning from Chad, and, you know, turn it over to Jimmy, Timmy, and Cabby here, the last three.
And John, we just mentioned the fact that you almost have two complete different units down there in the bullpen. How you can have one core pitch one night and that next core can pitch the next night and you don't lose a thing.
Yeah, man, that's a luxury. You know, I think that we've kind of raised the floor of our pen, you know, so much over the last couple of years. And a lot of the guys that have pitched in the ninth inning, really, and in high leverage spots. So it is nice. Hopefully it can kind of, you know, ease the workload of some of our regular guys, especially early. But yeah, it's nice that you can match up, you know, with a couple lefties. Then you got different looks from the right side too.
This is your second full spring training camp. Give us your assessment of how camp has been to this point. I know it's awfully early, but you've accomplished a lot.
Yeah, you know, I think last year you come in and you want to kind of set the tone and kind of, you know, really work on things that you thought were going to set you apart from the year before. And I think the biggest difference this year is guys came in ready to compete. Not that they didn't last year, but I think having our main guys, whether it's Bo, Vlad, or George, you know, Gauze, Barrios, these guys that have been here, they're really kind of setting the tone. You know, I kind of went out of my way today, this morning, to let them know I appreciate the effort, whether it's defensive stuff, Schneid, or on the bases. So they've really kind of set the tone. You know, the main thing we're worrying about is how we're going to win. You know, I think that last year kind of attention to detail was a main theme, and I thought we did some really good things with that last year, and you know, left some outs on the bases probably. So, you know, just continuing to talk about those things, but having the main guys really drive it home has been the biggest difference.
What was the discussion like with guys either at the end of the season or in the offseason? Because like you said, it does feel like a lot of guys attacked this offseason in a whole different way this year.
Yeah, you know, obviously whenever you end the year, how you don't want to, you know, there's time to reflect and there's times to think about what you could do better, whether it's myself, staff, players. So those conversations, you know, there was a lot of them in the offseason about what we can do differently. And when the guys showed up, it was very apparent that they took things very seriously. So a lot of work and a lot of credit goes to them. You know, guys really putting the work in, whether it's get down.
That's a fair ball. Schneider's going to get the stop sign at third. Nathan Lucas there. Kind of like a flashback to that day in Detroit when he drove in a big run.
Yeah, 10th inning double right there, or triple maybe. But I think, all right, we got a runner. Sorry. How do I D? What were we talking about?
The communication in the offseason that helped the guys attack the offseason.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was just, how do I Nate swing it? I think it was just, you know, message was received, and you know, and it wasn't just me to them, it was also them to me, you know, getting feedback, you know, from after my first year with guys that I'm really familiar with. So I think we landed in a really good spot, and again, it comes down to the players. It comes down to the players owning it and really kind of just driving it home to the rest of camp.
Speaking of players owning it, you've been around Bo Bichette since he came into the organization. How pleased were you that he asked you to speak up and talk to the team to start spring training?
Yeah, it's awesome. You know, he told us that, you know, a few days before we had that first meeting, and I loved it. You know, I think that's kind of the next step for Bo. Everyone knows what he can do on the field, and throughout his first few years in the league, he's quietly done that. You know, things that don't really get seen or heard. He's always been a leader. But I think having him, you know, people look to him, and I think him understanding that people look to him and him kind of realizing that was awesome. And his message was great. It was just, how are we going to win, and what standards are we going to set to do that every single night. So whenever one of your guys says that, it really resonates throughout the clubhouse. His message was definitely heard loud and clear from not only the staff and myself, but from the players, which was awesome.
Big story of today, of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. playing in his first game of the spring. You've been with him a long time. What do you think about how Vladdy has, you know, trained so far, and what's it been like working with him so far in the spring?
Yeah, Vlad, obviously another guy that really attacked his offseason and got himself really ready to go for this year. I know that last year was, you know, playing through some things last year and trying to make sure he didn't have to go through that this year. And that's kind of the first step, you know, guys getting ready for the season physically and making adjustments, you know, as your career goes on. And you know, Vladdy is as locked in as I've seen him in a long time. And whether it's stuff he's doing at the plate, in the field, or on the bases, he's another one of those guys. He's really setting the tone for the rest of camp. And it just kind of gets contagious that way. I think when Bo and Vlad do that, and then, you know, you add in JT and Izzy, you know, you got George and KK and Varsh in the outfield, it really kind of becomes contagious. So really pleased with the work he put in, and really, really pleased with what he's done so far in camp.
You talk about JT, Justin Turner. You know, as a manager, you see guys play from afar, and then you have a chance to have them play for you. What's your early impression of Justin Turner, what he brings to you?
Yeah, it kind of came as advertised. You know, it seems like every team he plays on, it's a pretty damn good offense. And he's very, very meticulous with his prep, understands what pitchers are trying to do, and then understands what he has to do then in turn.
Josh Kazovich is going to get an infield single and an RBI.
And I think when you add those experiences to a very talented group already, it just makes those guys around him better. But he was a guy always, you know, last year in Boston, he was, you know, as tough of an out as there was in their lineup and really in our division. So I think adding that kind of into our mix, it just kind of lengthens things out a little bit and, you know, kind of grinds down pitchers. But that's been his MO, you know. And again, it's not like we acquired him for that. We acquired him to produce as well, which he's done at an unbelievably high rate the last 10 years.
Another guy that you guys added, or I guess re-added, Kevin Kiermaier, returning to this team, and he's a big force defensively and in the clubhouse. What has it done, more to your clubhouse, I would ask, with Kevin Kiermaier back in the fold once again?
Yeah, with KK, I think just him being, you know, he's obviously a very energetic guy and very personable guy, and definitely showed that last year. Sit. Yep.
And that one drops in.
Span's tough one. But I think he just having a year under his belt here with this group, and then coming back and being more familiar with everybody that is in the clubhouse. Oh, wait, Cass, get done. I think just having him be more comfortable. You know, you can say the same thing about Varsh being here for a year and just being more comfortable with their surroundings, their teammates, their routines, what to expect, and things like that. We all know what Kev brings out in the outfield and what he brings at the plate. I thought he had an outstanding year last year at the plate as well. But kind of just keeping him in the mix with the guys in the clubhouse is awesome.
John, we're really excited to keep the spring going and see you guys once the regular season starts. Really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, guys, my pleasure. It's kind of weird we're opening in Tampa, but kind of nice too. So looking forward to hopefully getting our first victory here and keep Pete Walker happy.
That's John Schneider.
Thanks, John.
All right, guys. Talk soon. See you.
That's John Schneider, second-year manager of the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays added a run in this inning as well, and Brian Servant is going to get his first chance to hit. But, Buck, there's definitely, there's a lot of guys that have come back different this year, different in attitude, and it does feel like John Schneider is one of those guys, too, in his second season as manager with just more experience in the role.
Yeah, you know what, last year, like you said, he was just trying to get his feet on the ground and trying to establish himself as a big league manager, and now he knows what he needs to do as a manager and what he wants to do. I think that's important. He's got a little more confidence. And, of course, that guy on his left right there, DeMarlo Hale, that's another guy that John wanted to add to this team. And DeMarlo has been here before as a coach with the Blue Jays. But, boy, what an experienced coach he is to have. And DeMarlo, as you can see, he's energetic, he's engaged, and, I think it's important for a young manager like John Schneider to have guys with experience around him.